In this week's episode of Working with Work, I have a very, very special guest. Hello and welcome to episode 12 of my Working with Work series, and in this week's episode I have a very special guest kicking off a new part of this series of where I get people from YouTube or from other places to come onto this show and to give their top productivity tips. And in this first one of this series, I have none other than Francesco D'Alessio coming on to share his top 5 tips for being productive. And Francesco has an amazing YouTube channel, quite an inspiration to many of us out there who are on YouTube, where Francesco covers things like Evernote and TODOIST, of course, but he also covers many other applications and shows you what you can and cannot do within those applications. A channel that's definitely worth subscribing to if you haven't already subscribed. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to hand over to Francesco, who's going to go through his top 5 productivity tips. And you can subscribe to his channel below in the notes section, but definitely have a look through his channel. You'll find lots of ideas in there if you're looking to improve your productivity. So let's get straight into this and let me hand you over to Francesco.
Hello everyone, it's Francesco here. Thanks very much, Carl, for introducing me and explaining more about what I'll be touching on this video. Now I'm going to be sharing a few tips in this episode about some of the top productivity tips that I've come across. Now at the moment, I'm very early in my career, so I actually haven't had a great deal of work experience. I've only had 4 or 5 years worth of stuff, but I've been able to have a lot of good experiences. But I wanted to share some of the tips that I picked up along my journey so far that I think might be helpful for you guys. So I'm going to share 4 tips that I think will help you in your journey, but also a final tip that I really recommend to everyone if they aren't doing it already. My first tip would be to note everything down. Now this sounds very general and vague, but what I mean by this is having some sort of inbox collection system. Now for those who haven't read GTD, there's this theory of inbox. Now I'll include the video that Carl has made on this one. Basically the idea of this is actually to capture anything that comes into your brain, whether it's like picking up cereal on the way home or like a future event that's happening. Anything that you have in your mind that comes into your mind that you necessarily haven't processed yet. So what I'll do is I'll capture them inside of the inbox in TODOIST, and it's a great way for me to have that there so that I can refer to it later, process all of the items and put them in the right information boxes, or whether I need to actually choose when I'm actually going to do all of those things. The second tip that I have is maximizing time. Now, I started doing this maybe about 2 years ago, and I find it very beneficial. So what I'll do is now I will try and utilize my phone for any of my efforts. So previously, before, what I'd do is I'd have my laptop or MacBook and I would only stick to that for work. And I would be like, okay, everything's gonna be done on here. And then that would limit me to the period of time that I had interactions with it. However, what I started doing about 2 years ago is actually using my phone and sort of making a no excuses policy there by essentially just like labeling tasks inside of TODOIST, but also just generally making myself aware that I can use the phone anytime. So now when I'm waiting like for a bus, or like I'm in a taxi, or like I'm on the way home, I'm in these like pockets of time, like it could even be waiting for the toilet in a cafe, I will be doing something, whether it's tweeting at all of the people who've like tweeted at me, or whether it's replying to emails, or whether it's writing in a Google Doc. These pockets of time have been very useful for me, and has created this sort of no excuse policy to be getting on with some of the work that will help me in my future. My third tip would be taking a routine break. Now, I in my day actually get an opportunity to grab 5-10 minutes every maybe 2 hours to grab a couple of moments to just relax and just ponder the thoughts I'm having. What I'll do is sometimes I'll have a quick meditation, or I'll just literally just get some piece of paper out and write down any thoughts I'm having. Whether it's about work or leisure, I just tend to have those moments across my day so that I don't get burnt out necessarily. Of course, my work day is a little longer, but this period of time will give me momentary breaks from doing some intensive work, and it'll help clear my mind a little. My fourth tip is actually to switch off all notifications. Now, what I did about a year ago is I took my Facebook Messenger, my Slack I think I did as well, and a couple of other applications, and I switched off the push messages for it on iOS and Android, and now I don't get any messages through unless I go into the app and manually fetch the messages. So this will help me keep a clearer mind across my day. I don't have to react to all of these messages, but I can go in when I like and respond to the thread that's below best I can, and just generally get a more productive day, because I'm not necessarily looking at my phone and all of these interactions coming across. Now, you can do this by just going to notifications in the general on the iOS settings and just be able to deselect them. You can actually create custom notifications that appear on certain items, so just check all of those out before you go ahead. Anyway, my fifth and final tip, and probably my top tip, would be to plan your day the day before. Now, this is something that I know a few people do already, and I think that is very beneficial. So what I'll do in the evening is just before I go to bed, if I've planned my day before in my day, or whether I just plan it before I go to bed, just before I go to bed, I'll grab 5 minutes and I'll just say to my fiance, can I have 5 minutes just to plan my day or look at my day? And this way it gives me like just a mental log before I go to sleep on what I'm doing tomorrow, so I can really, when I wake up, I can get going with it and sort of conquer my most important items of the day. Obviously, this is still growing and I'm developing as I do this one, but what I'll do is I'll organise my Todoist so it's all in chronological order. Obviously, things change throughout your day naturally, but this way I can have a rundown of what my day looks like. Anyway, guys, I hope you found those productivity tips useful. As I said, I'm still very young in my career and still learning lots, so I'm sure there'll be stuff along the way that I'm going to be sharing and talking about that I think might be helpful for you guys, and things that I think I can be improving on definitely. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure to check out Carl's YouTube channel, of course, if you're brand new, and if you haven't followed me yet, please do follow me on my YouTube channel. I put out regular videos, like one every 2 days, that I'm sure you'll really enjoy. They're about Todoist, Evernote, and all of the other productivity apps out there that you could be using across your day. Anyway, guys, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Carl, and I'll see you guys very, very soon. Cheers.